So, want to talk about your boy first? I want to talk about Jonathan Majors.
I guess. Let's talk. I
Okay.
wasn't too surprised about this. I literally got sent this news story by literally like everyone because they're like, like everyone's just like, "Oh, your dad is like in the news." So I'm like,
Yeah,
but if you follow like Vin Diesel, this isn't too surprising to
yeah.
me.
Because when didn't somebody bring up that interview he did of like him like complimenting that woman? Like it's like he kept just repeating how beautiful she was over and over.
Yeah.
I'll
Hmm.
bring up that in a second. I'll bring up that clip in a second. But so what's going on with Vin Diesel? So it says Vin Diesel sued for alleged sexual battery by ex-assistant. This is a Hollywood Reporter here. It says Asta Johnson claims in a lawsuit that the actor restrained and groped her before proceeding to masturbate in front of her in his hotel room in September 2010. And yeah, it says in a lawsuit filed on Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court. Johnson alleges the Fast and Furious star pinned her to a wall. He groped and masturbated in front of her. The complainant names Diesel's One Race films, which allegedly fired Johnson in retaliation for resisting his advances and to have the assault covered up. Um, yeah, so it's always with these things, always got to wait evidence.
Hmm.
Don't know if he's guilty or not. Um, like I said, I mean, like, you said you already kinda it's not that surprising maybe?
Well, it's just because Vin Diesel is just a very like his ego has just ballooned over the past like couple years. So it doesn't, not even couple years, just like many years. So I, so the fact that like something like this, it doesn't necessarily surprise me. All the stuff that was with Justin Lin as well about him kind of being like a very hard person to like work with,
Mhm.
and like all the drama behind that, it doesn't surprise me that there's more drama with him, to be honest. And I like all this, like whenever stuff comes out about this, it's always like very like difficult too. So I'm always like hoping that the pr- that the people were involved like get like their justice, whether Vin Diesel did it or not. Like allegedly, I hope that they find like the help that they need, and like because I know like coming out with like everyone like likes to bring up like, oh, why'd they come out with it now, like that happened like in 2010, like when Fast Five came out. But like when stuff happens like this to people, they don't want to come out with it like immediately. They got to work with it, and I admire like the bravery for them to like come out and like say this stuff, and I hope that they like get the justice that they deserve. So yeah.
Yeah.
uh but we were talking like privately, like in DMs, like when this came out, and you were like, you brought up like, can like, will this hurt like Fast and Furious? I think Fast and Furious is pretty well hurt at this point, like after like Fast X.
Yeah.
Uh, and
'Cause
I feel like if Vin Diesel actually did do stuff, these terrible acts, I think Universal should fire him. And in person, in my personal opinion, I think that Vin Diesel brings down the Fast and Furious like franchise, and I know that this is like his franchise, but probably the movies that I like the most are ones that don't necessarily feature him. Like Fast Five is all about like the team and how he's working with the other people around him. My favorite Fast and Furious is Tokyo Drift. It doesn't even feature him at all. Fast and Furious 6 is up there as well, and Letty is like kind of like the main person being featured as like the bad guy. Or as like the and antagonist of like that in that movie. And then you have Fast 10 where Vin Diesel takes the back seat and it's all Jason Momoa. So it's like I feel like this franchise can survive without Vin Diesel because he doesn't do much. Because all he does is just grunt his way through these movies. So I would like to see like see like POCs kind of like make a return to the Fast and Furious universe, bring back Han, just kind of like reboot this franchise, just because Universal can't let this franchise die because it does make money for them. So, and if Vin Diesel, like an aging star, has like this stuff come out and it turns out to be true, you can just let them go and just, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my opinion. I
Um,
feel like Vin Diesel doesn't mean anything to this franchise. So,
huh. It's just I mean, yeah, Fast and Furious, a lot of it is the big cast that it has of
mhm.
characters, and it really is about family, you know what I mean? It really is about that,
Is it?
and
Is
I
it
mean
about?
you see, like, I think one of the worst issues when you came on, we did the review for Fast X, I think I remarked one of the worst things about it is that it splits them up, and I'm like, "These people aren't really that interesting of characters enough to be split up. So when you
Mhm,
really do that, it kinda makes it worse. So it's like
mhm.
it really it's like it only works when they're all really together fighting something and doing something mainly together, and they try to break it off into, like, groups and everything, and then you saw with Fast X bringing up the question of can this franchise continue without Vin Diesel? It seems like they're setting up Fast and Furious babies. Like that's what they're gonna set up where it's the next generation's gonna come up. He's got kids and then all that stuff, and then they're gonna maybe eventually take over the thing. I know there's like an animated show on Netflix about Fast and Furious or something.
Yeah, I think Spy Racers. I didn't watch it because I have too much self-respect to watch it.
you know, so
So
so they're trying to do spinoffs and a whole Fast and and then there's like Hobbs and Shaw, and then I don't know if they're gonna do another one, like another Hobbs and Shaw, but you
well,
know,
supposedly, Dwayne spoilers for Fast 10 if you care, but
yeah,
Dwayne Johnson is back, and, like, the next movie is supposed to feature him and Jason Momoa. So, I feel like when you have, like, The Rock back, like, kind of, like, being, like, the, like, protagonist now, like, do you really need Vin Diesel anymore? Universal's just like, "Yeah, yeah, you're a terrible person, Vin Diesel. We're axing you. We don't need you no more. We got
yeah,
Dwayne Johnson. He's a better person than you." So,
yeah. We're gonna swap out one mulatto bald brother for another mulatto bald brother, and it's like, hey, yeah, let's swap y'all out. I'm like, hey, The Rock, hey, it's your time, man. Step up, let's do it. And The Rock he's kind of had a string of misses lately, like Black Adam. Uh, what was else was a string of miss for him that
oh shoot, what
uh,
I know Black Adam is the one that comes to mind, uh, because the hierarchy of the DC EU did not change in his
did not.
favor.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it changed for James Gunn's favor, but not not Dwayne Johnson. That was such a weird time. Like when when Dwayne Johnson was like like basically running DC Studios.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate he's a good hype man. I mean, it made sense why he was such a great wrestler. I mean, I loved him as a
Mhm.
wrestler, and he was great on the mic. He's got a lot of personality. So, he did so in 2022, he did DC League of Super Pets, Black Adam. Then in 2021, he did Jungle Cruise, which I like Jungle Cruise, but that was like during the pandemic, and I think that was just on Disney Plus, I think. I think it dropped on.
I just watched it on Disney Plus. I thought it was fine. Like,
Then he did the Netflix movie Red Notice, which I hated. That was one of my worst movies of the year. Um,
they're working on a sequel, I think. So,
really? Oh,
yeah,
geez. Okay. 2019 he did
multiple, I think, because that's what Netflix does.
oh, geez. 2019 he did Jumanji: The Next Level. How well did that do? Was that like his last hit?
I never saw it. I only saw the first Jumanji. So,
Yeah, I only saw the first Jumanji one, and then before that, that's when he did Hobbs& and Shaw, and I think Hobbs& and Shaw did pretty well. I think that did, like, cross let me see. It had a budget of 760 I mean, it had box office of 760
okay,
mil.
a budget of 760
Yeah.
million.
And box office for Jumanji 2 made 800,000,000. So, 801,000,000.
Mhm.
So, I think that was, like, the last big hit he had, I think was that, and that was in 2019, Jumanji.
Yeah. Then he
Um,
had Black Adam, which we all know what happened there. So,
yeah,
did
yeah.
you like that?
No, I did not like Black Adam. I did not like Black Adam. Uh,
I
no.
I don't know. It's so forgettable to me. I
Yeah, it's just kinda like one of those movies. It's like, it's just it's a movie that just makes you feel superhero fatigue. When people talk about the
yeah.
superhero fatigue, like, Black Adam is like one of those movies. Just like when I saw Oh, jeez, excuse me. Choking up here.
to Aquaman.
Man, yeah, when I saw Aquaman 2, I was like, yeah, I feel superhero fatigue with this as well. And this was like the same thing, Black Adam. It was like, ugh. It's just like, man. And there was some I liked some cool things about it. I thought like the Justice Society was cool and
Yeah,
Doctor Fate and Pierce Brosnan. I thought some of the things were cool. But yeah.
just kind of like Fast and Furious, but that's it, like everyone around Vin Diesel is really great, but like in Black Adam, like it's it's Dwayne Johnson that was the problem. So it's like I know that they had their feud, their little feud, but like the farther you get away, the more things stay the same. So it's like I don't know, but
Yeah. And let me continue a little bit with this story here. So it's Johnson, who signed a non-disclosure agreement preventing her from discussing anything related to Diesel, attributes the filing of her suit to legislation barring enforcement of such contracts in certain instances, and a California law reviving the state limitations of sexual misconduct for claims until 2026. Over the past year, plaintiffs have been taking advantage of a similar law in New York, the Adult Survivors Act, to sue major figures in the entertainment industry, including Sean Diddy Combs, Jimmy Fox, Neil Portnow. Companies owned by the accused have also been named in several suits for allegedly facilitating the assaults of or negligently filing to oversee their directors and employees. Um, yeah, and then if people don't know about the case that just recently happened with Diddy, where Cassie, a former partner of his, a singer on his label, came out and then accused him, and then that was just like it was a civil suit. It was a civil suit, and then they settled that right away. Diddy, it was like no time. Like you heard about the story one day, and then boom, like it was settled the next day. And
mhm.
then now you have other people coming out and said that Diddy did similar things. And when you read about the list of things that supposedly he did, a lot of crazy stuff that kind of happened there. So and then so yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens if this goes to trial. Because is this so? She says so for alleged suing. So is this just a civil case as well, or is it a criminal case with a sexual battery? I think it's just
I think it's civil
yeah. It's
at
just
this
yeah. She's
point.
suing.
I'm not a lawyer, so I
Yeah,
can't.
I think it's a civil case there. So we'll see kind
Just
of
disgusting stuff all around that
yeah. And this
he
is the
supposedly did, allegedly did. So
And this is the interview here, uh, that we were talking about.
oh god,
God, he's so beautiful. God, she's so beautiful, man. Am I right or wrong? Look at her. How am I supposed to do this interview? Look at this woman.
Tell me your story.
She's so beautiful. Go on, man. Talk to me, baby. Tell me your story. Tell me yours. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Let's go have lunch. My
see
God,
this is a
look how beautiful
man.
she is.
Thank you.
God, wow. Man.
So Tom Hanks.
Wow.
Josh, you're a fan of Community, right?
Yeah.
You remember? Is it season 5? I think the one with Jeff's ego, where it's like it's like the ego is the apple. Britta says like your ego is the apple, and you're like the more like compliments that you get, your ego will start exploding,
Mm,
or like the apple will start getting bigger and bigger before you can't contain it anymore.
yeah.
That episode is Vin Diesel right now, where it's just like he thinks he's like the world, and like when he really isn't. So it's like it's eh, like I said, I'm not surprised any of this happened, especially the type of character that I know everyone likes to say that like, oh, he's like such a nice guy, but yeah, it's a lot of that could be masked as well. So
Yeah.
this is why I don't get it. This is why I don't like trying to make connections like with a bunch of celebrities on social media and like, oh, these people are like they're talking to me and stuff like that, just because they're bad people too, even though they like do have like these clean records. It's just yeah.
Yeah. So if it's a civil case, um, then I think that would mean so I wonder how that worked because if we're gonna bring up the Jonathan Majors thing, that was a criminal case and he was found guilty of that by a jury.
Mhm.
Um, And then if this is just a civil case, then I mean, how does that? I mean, because Marvel was able to drop him because he was like, okay, well, you were found guilty, so we waited, evidence, jury, we let the jury decide. Okay, you found guilty, we drop you. But with this, since it's more of a civil thing, how's that gonna really work out? Because it's like, are they gonna allow him to fight it, and then if he just wins it, then they go like, okay, then you're good. And then if he loses and he has to pay out a bunch of money, are they gonna go like, okay, well, you lost, boom, we're just gonna let you go? You think?
That's probably how it's going to work, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Universal's in a very sticky situation, not like how Disney was for its Jonathan Majors, but I I don't know, because based on how Fast 10 performed, they're kind of like all this is popping up, and then Fast 10 didn't perform all that well, and then you have Vin Diesel coming out saying like, "Oh, it's a two-part trilogy," whatever that whatever that means. It's just yeah, it's I think that I think Universal is probably going to drop him for sure, even
Mm,
if he wins or loses. So
okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on the story and get
yeah.
back to you. That was Vin Diesel.